No warning could capture what was about to unfold. It hit harder than anyone could have imagined. Arizona, a state more often associated with heat, deserts, and dry skies, suddenly turned into the site of deadly floods. Torrential rain came fast and hard, drowning communities, sweeping away cars, filling streets with chaos, and leaving families searching for loved ones. By the time the storm slowed, at least 4 lives had been lost. The story of these floods is one of destruction, shock, and resilience. And it begins with a storm system that was unlike anything most had ever seen. The National Weather Service warned of storms forming across central Arizona. They came from a rare upper-level low-pressure system parked near the U.S. Mexico border. Warm tropical moisture collided with unstable air, and the result was violent thunderstorms. Phoenix and its surrounding cities were drowning under sheets of rain. In just one day, Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport recorded 1.6 inches of rain. That may not sound huge, but for Arizona, it was the single wettest day in nearly 7 years. For downtown Phoenix, it was the 4th wettest day in recorded history since 2000. The ground couldn't take it, the rivers couldn't hold it, and soon streets turned into raging waterways. Emergency alerts blared across phones and radios. Officials warned of life-threatening flash floods. Creeks, highways, and underpasses were filling rapidly. Videos showed water swallowing roads, hail the size of golf balls crashing down, and even self-driving cars stuck at Phoenix's airport, unable to escape the floods. But the heart of the disaster struck harder in Globe, a small city about 88 miles east of Phoenix. Globe is one of Arizona's oldest mining towns, home to just over 7,000 people. On Friday, it was hit with 2.5 inches of rain in less than 24 hours. That much water that quickly overwhelmed the town. Floodwaters rushed through Globe's historic downtown. Buildings were damaged, streets were torn apart. And then came an even greater danger: propane. One of the first areas hit was a propane distribution facility. Nearly 1,000 propane tanks, the kind used for homes, were ripped from their site and scattered across the flood zone. Tanks slammed into cars, rolled through neighborhoods, and floated in the rushing water. Hazmat teams rushed in, praying that none of the tanks would ignite or explode. Council members in Globe looked at the destruction and admitted they had never seen anything like it. They called it devastating. The town quickly declared a state of emergency. Officials warned that historic downtown was unsafe. Compromised buildings, hazardous chemicals, unstable debris. Propane tanks lay everywhere, like ticking bombs that luckily never went off.
Now look at my car! Look at this! Look at this. All right, Melanie, you ready for this?
No, I'm not ready, actually. I'm kind of scared.
You know, we gotta move this car.
Lives, however, were already being lost. In Globe, emergency teams confirmed at least 3 deaths. Families waited desperately for updates, but details were scarce. In the chaos, officials could not even say how many were still missing. Search and rescue teams with dogs scoured the area, while helicopters circled overhead. Residents were told to stay home, not to help in the search because their presence could confuse the dogs' scent trails and put everyone at greater risk. People were seen climbing onto rooftops, waving for help. People clung to trees, desperate to survive. Globe's mayor said he had never felt such heartbreak in his city. The danger was still not over. The National Weather Service issued more flash flood warnings, this time covering Phoenix, Scottsdale, and nearby regions. Thunderstorms continued to develop, threatening to drop another inch of rain on already devastated areas. For a state unprepared for this much water, the fear was overwhelming. Governor Katie Hobbs addressed the state with urgency. She said search and rescue operations were still underway and that Arizona was deploying every possible resource. She declared a state of emergency for Gila County, where Globe sits, and called in the Arizona National Guard for security and recovery support. State-owned drones joined the search efforts, flying above washed-out neighborhoods.
This just happened. This is the control flood zone in the green belt around Hayden. This Waymo just drove right into this.
Hobbs also spoke with federal officials, including Homeland Security, to make sure backup resources were ready. She admitted the flooding had caused heartbreaking loss and promised that help would not stop until every missing person was accounted for.
Went to charge the Tezzy and had to pull the dogs out just to get to the charger. Shit's crazy.
Cars were swept away, crashing into poles before sinking under muddy waves. Streets looked more like rivers. Propane tanks, tree branches, and pieces of homes floated together in piles of debris. Videos spread on social media, showing families crying as they watched everything they owned drift away. This was not the first time Globe had seen flooding. Just a few years earlier, in 2021, the area suffered after a wildfire left the ground unable to absorb rain. But this was different. This was heavier, faster, and far more destructive. Carl Melford, Gila County's emergency manager, explained that the rainfall was simply too much for the region to handle. An extreme amount of water in an extremely short period. His teams worked nonstop, setting up shelters, running rescues, and keeping propane hazards under control.
What the fuck? Oh, hell no!
Despite the chaos, something else happened in Globe and across Arizona. People came together. Volunteers stepped up, offering to help their neighbors, to clear debris, to comfort the grieving. Officials, though, pleaded with residents to stay away from dangerous zones. They explained that too many people on the ground made rescues harder and risked more lives. The best way to help, they said, was patience, allowing trained professionals to do their jobs.
What do you think? What? We gotta go left. We're done. We're good.
I get new glass.
That's not really far.
Curtains on.
Oh my gosh.
Still, the spirit of the community was clear. People opened homes to those displaced. Shelters welcomed families who had nowhere to go. And while propane tanks still littered the streets and the damage to downtown remained severe, survivors began to lean on each other for strength. The death toll stood at 4, 3 in Globe, 1 in Scottsdale. Officials worried that number could still rise as search crews combed the flood zones. For the families who lost loved ones, no words could ease the pain. For others, the sight of their town destroyed felt like a nightmare they could not wake from. The Arizona floods of 2025 will be remembered not just for their sudden violence, but for how unprepared people were for such destruction. In just hours, lives were lost, communities torn apart, and a small mining town nearly erased by nature's force. The storm proved one thing clearly: Arizona is not immune to disaster, and when water comes to a desert with such fury, it leaves scars that last for generations. That's all for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more clear and calm reports on extreme weather events. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Please note that some footage in this video is for illustrative purposes and may not depict the exact events described. Thank you for watching and stay safe.